I think I was out of school. But I used to steal my dad's backpack because he had a cool backpack. So anyway, he was going to Dubai, and he's like, oh, I might have some shit. So he tipped it upside down, and a 50 of weed fell out of it and fell onto the bed. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, he wrote a note and left the 50 there with it for me. He's like, we'll talk.
He left it for you.
He left it there, yeah. And I smoked it.
What a guy.
I know, what a legend.
Guy.
I know, what a legend. I was like,
your dad being a fucking legend.
yeah, I know. I guess he did probably think I was going to smoke it. I don't know. Well, I did. But I was like, I was just cheering that I got to smoke it. So I remember I was so happy.
Oh, bro.
But anyway, it's like, yeah, if he got caught with that in Dubai, I don't know exactly what the rules, but you probably would have got locked up. In some countries, you get shot for bringing drugs into a country. Literally. So he was very lucky. He shaked the bag and he come out. Anyway, he come back and he's like, look, like, what the fuck? Like, sort of blowing up about it. I'm like, oh, man, like, whatever. It's just a bit of weed. He's like, you're going to stop smoking? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And he's like, oh, go on, get the fuck out then. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I sort of started hanging around with the wrong crowd more and more, living with the boys, living in a trap house. Yeah, for me, it was just like, it was like a middle house where people went to go do drugs, buy drugs. Yeah. And that was a house. There was always people coming and going. Yeah. You never really knew who was living there. Yeah.
Legends, welcome to another episode of the Interchange Podcast, and thank you for joining me, your host, Ben Lowe, once again. Before we do go any further, I have a very small favour to ask, and that is if you have been enjoying the content, even just the slightest little bit, if you could please go and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast, and don't forget to share it with just one of your friends, because as you know, the more eyes and ears we can get on this podcast, the bigger and better guests I can bring for you guys, and in turn, the more value you guys are going to get. So over to today's guest, who is a guy by the name of Jacob the Flamingo Nung, who is a professional fighter, once ranked as number 5 in the world for boxing. Now, I met Jacob when I was sparring at his boxing gym last year, and for whatever reason, we stayed in contact. And after hanging out a few times, we realised we had very similar histories and also a very similar mission in life. So Jacob, just like myself, was struggling with drugs once upon a time, and then used boxing as his tool to get him away from that, and is now using boxing to help change the lives of young men who might have been at risk and show them that there is another way. So I love this story, and it is, once again, proof that no matter where you're at, no matter where you've come from, change is always possible, but it comes from within. So I'll see you guys over on the episode.
Brother, you might want to get yourself some more water before we get started, because it's looking pretty empty and we're going to be here for a minute.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, you are doing 75 hard again.
Yeah.
So we good.
Let's go.
That'll get us through at least the next half hour, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you're back on 75 hard, man. How are you finding it?
Good. I'm proper frothing it. Yeah, proper happy to be back on the 75 hard. I just feel very in tune with myself, and I'm eating super clean, drinking heaps of water. You're feeling good physically and mentally from both things. I'm putting in that workload, especially that outdoor training session.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Makes you feel real good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, actually, one of the boys from the gym, his daughter just started doing it.
How old's his daughter?
She's like probably 20.
Yeah, okay.
So she just started doing it, but she messages me. She's like, oh, I'm doing it. I actually put up a post. I talked to her about it. I'm like, have you worked out the side today? She's like, oh, no. And I'm like, that's one part of the challenge. You got to do one 45-minute session outdoors. I'm like, what book are you reading? She's like, I'm reading The Shining. And I'm like, doesn't count. It has to be a self-help biography, non-fiction. And I'm like, they suck. And I didn't want to do it at the start, but really you're not doing the proper challenge if you don't do all the things it says to do. So I'm like, it'll be worth it. It'll be super hard to make sure you do all those things, but it'll be worth it in the end. And yeah, I've done it once before, and I was so stoked to be able to get through it.
Yeah, because you said you tried to do it a couple of times and didn't end up working out for you, right? Just because of circumstances and shit like that?
Yeah, it took me about 12. My 13th time I completed, it took me 12 times before that to get through it. Just first time I got 38 days through, and that was like my best one before then. And I had to read a book, and I had a fight show up in Brisbane, and I went up there, I had the book in my dad's room, and I was like, I'll read it on the way home on the car because my mate was driving, and I bloody left the bag in my dad's room with the book. So driving home, didn't have the book, had to start again.
Yeah. It's one of those things, right? It's no matter what, you've got to do it. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's, rain, hail or shine. I remember being down in Sydney for a Kerwin Ray event, bro, and I'm having like 12-hour days, like 10-hour days, getting up early in the morning, trying to go to the gym at least in the morning, and then obviously trying to keep my food up, trying to read my pages at lunchtime, and then at night going for a walk or something like that just to get it done, right?
Yeah, you have to. And you're only holding yourself accountable. People are like, oh, who cares? Just say you did it. It's like, yeah, but the only person you're lying to is yourself. You're lying to yourself. What else are you doing to let yourself down?
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, right? Because if you can break a lie to yourself, you're breaking lies to other people. But when you break a lie to yourself, you're the one that has to live with that for the rest of your life. You know, it's keeping yourself accountable. And the more that you can, I guess, start to say something you're going to do and actually follow through with it, you build trust in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the 75 hard thing. It's not just that it stays within the fitness side of things. It's a mindset challenge. It really carries over into every area of your life. And doing it the time previously, what was the biggest takeaway that you got from it, bro?
Just the habits, just building good, healthy habits, eating clean all the time and drinking water.
Yeah.
They're probably the two biggest things. I love to eat out. I'm craving going out. Like, all my mates eat out all the time. I'm just craving going out and eating a mad feed. But I do feel so good. I know I don't need to. And then I'm hoping when I finish, I can find that happy medium, eating out like 2, maybe 3 times a week, but then sticking solid to my usual plan of eating the rest of the time.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what it's about, right? It's about setting those habits. And that's the thing I've noticed. So this is the one I just completed, was the 3rd time completing it. And each time I took something different away from it.
Yep.
So for you, what was the reason for you starting the challenge just recently?
Oh, so since I finished it the first time, I feel like a piece of shit if I'm not following it. I feel like I'm a lazy piece of shit. I'm like, I could be doing, I know how good I feel when I do 75 hard. Yeah. I feel like I'm just not having a crack in life.
Yeah, man.
So I've been feeling like that for ages. And I'm like, I wanted to start phase 1, but I'm like, no, I just want to do this normal 75 hard again. So I'm going to crack that. Once I finish that, I'm going to have a week off because I'll be getting tattooed. So I won't be doing anything, and then it'll be my birthday, and then I'll probably start 75 phase 1.
Yeah. And I think it's crazy, right? Because everyone starts 75 hard for a different reason. For me, the first time it was to get off the piss.
Yep.
But for you, like, you weren't really drinking heavily or anything like that, and you were in prep at the moment. Well, not really in prep, but you were training for a fight, right?
Yeah, I think so. I can't. No. Okay, so the first time I did it, me and my ex just broke up.
Yeah.
My ex and I just broke up. And I was like, it was from partying. Like, I was getting up to no good. I was partying all the time, and it pretty much just broke us apart. I was like dealing with other stuff too, I guess, in general, but that was the reason we broke up. And so I was like,
down to the partying.
Yeah, it was down to the partying, going out, not telling what I was doing, just going out, getting loose with the boys, and just like coming home, not remembering what happened. It was just, I'm just like, it happened time and time again. She gave me plenty of chances, and that's what happened in the end. And I was like, I've got to clean my act up. So I'm going to do the 75 hard. I'm going to actually do it this time because I couldn't do it 12 times before. And then I started a men's program, a warrior program through a men with WA. And doing those two things together like fully changed my life. I'm a much healthier, happier, and more in tune with myself person now, I believe, since doing those two things together. Yeah. So I'm keen to give this another crack.
Yeah, 100%, man. So you said that you were partying a fair bit. Is this something that sort of, I guess, played through, I guess, from a younger age? Like when you were in your younger days, was like the party life what you were about?
Yeah, 100%. Oh, well, so I grew up in a gym. My dad owns a boxing gym. I grew up watching him. He was fighting since I've been a baby, pretty much. I grew up watching fighting.
Matrix, boxing gym,
So I train out of Matrix Boxing Gym. My dad's the head coach there. I work, train, and fight out of the gym too. But yeah, so I was sober as I was like, I'm never going to drink alcohol like the whole way through. And I was competing since I was 10 years old in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Started boxing when I was 15. I'm competing in both, going pretty high level in both of those. And I was just like killing it. Come to year 12, and I'm like, I'm going to play my last game of footy for the school. I'm like, I knew I'm never going to play footy again with the boys. I'm like, this is my last chance. My dad's like, don't do it. You're too little. You're not like, you don't have a body for footy anymore. Yeah. And I was like, I was fighting at 56 kilos in year 12. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to do it. Went and played, tried to tackle a prop, like 80 to 100 kilo year 12 boy, like
what full man. At the time?
I would have been like 58, fighting at 56. Go down, drop, boom, pop the shoulder. And I'm like, holy fuck, like, pop it back in, run back. He comes to me again, another dude comes to me again, pops again. And I'm just like, fuck, my shoulder's fucked. And from that point, I was like, I may never fight again. Like, my shoulder might be cooked now. So that night, I went to a party, and I never drunk, never done drugs. And someone was like, I didn't want to drink. And he's like, do you want a doobie? And I was like, yeah. And so I started smoking weed, and that's sort of how it started. And it sort of led me down a bad track for quite a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where I guess party life went for you. And how long ago was it that I guess that sort of started to really be detrimental to you?
Pretty much straight away. From there, I was like, was a couple months before graduation in year 12. So I was sort of hanging, everyone was partying and doing that kind of stuff. So I did that. I was still training. I still had a couple of fights. But then I just kept doing it more and more from just smoking weed. I started hanging out with the boys, partying on the weekends, getting on party drugs. Then at 19, I had my first drink.
Yeah.
So then I started.
So you were using smoking pot, taking party drugs before you were actually drinking.
Yeah, before I was drinking. Yeah, because I was just like, I'm never going to drink. But then at 19, I just started drinking as well, and they all combined together. And then I sort of started going down a bad road from there. I stopped fighting, stopped like having good communication with my parents. With my good friend group, I hung out with some like shadier people. Was living in a trap house at one point, but. Yeah, it's all part of who I am, and it's helped me to be the person I am today.
Yeah, man, I connect with that. And I think that environment's a really big part of that, right? And I've seen that you do a lot of work with young men as well that might be in similar situations to what you were with boxing. Would you say that boxing was something that really pulled you out of that?
Yeah, without the fights, like I grew up fighting, so it is part of my life and who I am. I sort of like identify, I guess, as a fighter. Like it's just who I am. It's just what I've done my whole life, been around it. So it's just to really go back into that, really helped me be able to pull myself out of it all. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool. So from, I guess, being on the party drugs to then getting back into professional boxing, what was the story like there for you?
So me and my dad had a bit of beef. It was actually, I was telling you before, I guess I'll tell it again.
Yeah, can we talk about that one on air?
So I think I was out of school. But I used to steal my dad's backpack because he had a cool backpack, so I used to steal it and like ride around.
Of all things, right?
Yeah, I used to steal it. Anyway, he was going to Dubai, and he's like, oh, I might have some shit. So he tipped it upside down, and a 50 of weed fell out of it and fell onto the bed. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, he wrote a note and left the 50 there with it for me. He's like, we'll talk.
He left it for you.
He left it there, yeah. And I smoked it.
What a guy.
I know, what a legend.
Guy.
I know, what a legend. I was like,
your dad being a fucking legend.
yeah, I know. I guess he did probably think I was going to smoke it. I don't know. Well, I did. But I was like, I was just cheering that I got to smoke it. So I remember I was so happy.
Oh, bro.
But anyway, it's like, yeah, if he got caught with that in Dubai, I don't know exactly what the rules, but you probably would have got locked up. In some countries, you get shot for bringing drugs into a country. Literally. So he was very lucky. He shake the bag and he come out. Anyway, he come back and he's like, look, like, what the fuck? Like, sort of blowing up about it. I'm like, oh, man, like, whatever. It's just a bit of weed. He's like, you're going to stop smoking? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And he's like, oh, go on, get the fuck out then. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I sort of started hanging around with the wrong crowd more and more, living with the boys, living in a trap house.
For people that don't know what a trap house is.
Yeah, for me, it was just like it was like a middle house where people went to go do drugs, buy drugs. Yeah. And that was a house. There was always people coming and going. Yeah. You never really knew who was living there. Yeah. There was like the main crew of people that stayed there, but there was always people coming and going, and drugs were distributed there, and we would take drugs all the time there. Yeah. So that's just the kind of house I was living in. But yeah, from there, I started sort of trying to get my line. I was painting apprenticeship. I was sort of painting apprenticeship. I started back training Muay Thai because me and my dad were beef and I wasn't boxing.
So you went to a different art?
Yeah, I went to a different art. Our gym started Matrix Muay Thai, Matrix Boxing Gym. Okay. So I knew them. I just went back to them, was training Muay Thai. Dad seen I was trying to pull myself out of it, so he come up to me and he goes, man, I see you're trying to do better. I think you should get away from the Gold Coast and go move to Thailand, live there, train and fight Muay Thai, do it for a year.
How old were you at this stage?
I was 21.
Yeah, 21.
I was 21, yeah, and like full into the just the party lifestyle and
get up to no good.
Yeah, that's right. So he's like, man, you should do that. And he's like, I would love to help you get over there and do that. And I was like, I wanted to let this opportunity pass by. I was like,
that's huge, bro.
Yeah, it was a huge thing. So I did that. And I remember I got a journal actually, and I was going through my mom's house, all this stuff there, and I read it. And I was just like...
Was this just recently?
Yeah, this was recent. It's a couple months ago. I was reading through it. I hadn't read through it in a long time. And I was like saying it, so I was like fiending weed. I wasn't sleeping. I was sweating at night because I just been smoking weed with we used to spin the weed with the like cigarettes. So I was fiending cigarettes. I'm just like sweating. I'm like missing the boys. But then after 2 weeks, I started frothing the training and frothing everything, like frothing life over there.
How your mindset shifts, right? When you haven't got that thing there, you need to find something else to I guess, fiend and want.
Yeah, so yeah, it fully changed me. I don't know where I'd be if I never did that Thailand trip. I could be dead, could be in jail, could be a junkie.
Yeah.
Who knows what could have happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very grateful for that opportunity. My dad and my mum helped me get there too, and I was very grateful for the support I had around me to get me out of that stage.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So when you fight, you run with the name the Flamingo, and you were telling me that you got that name over in Thailand.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you adopted the name the Flamingo.
Yeah, so my fight name is the Flamingo. So when I first got to Thailand, there was a boy there called Jordan. Dekalek was his fight name. His last name was Ko. Jordan
What was his fight name?
Dekalek.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what it means. I got it tattooed on me. I actually don't know what it means. I'm gonna find that out after this chat. I'm gonna call my mate up and find out exactly. But I got into the gym. He was small. He'd been living there full time. He was 19. He'd been living in Thailand for 2 years full time, training and fighting, getting flown around the world, just living his dream.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's real short. He looks me up and down. He's like, man, how are you going to fight Muay Thai? You got legs like a flamingo? And I was just like, oh, man, I don't know. I'm just going to give it a crack, aren't I? And so then he started photoshopping my face onto pictures of flamingos and putting it over Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Yeah. And I was just like, everyone started calling me the Flamingo. My old high school teacher made me a logo, and I just become the Flamingo. His first fight was the first fight I watched in Thailand. And he did this thing called Isan dancing, which is like a northeast Thailand type of dancing where they do a lot of hand movement and hip thrusts.
Yeah.
And so he does it out to the ring. The crowd go crazy. And I was like, man, can I do that too? And he's like, you can't do my dance. I'm like, oh, I'll shuffle out to the ring. I'll dance and entertain the crowd. So if anyone has seen my fight, I dance on the way. I wear a pink feather cape and dance out to the ring. I put on a bit of a show like my boy Jordan did.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I became known as the Flamingo.
Yeah, cool. And that name's obviously stuck.
And that name's stuck, yeah. So it's good. Yeah, it's a good name. My boy Jordan, he tragically passed away cutting weight for a fight. So it was, I'd just come back from Thailand, been back living here for 2 months. I was sort of in a hard stage because I had no money. I was living in my mum's house. I was training, but I had to work. And I was like, it's not as easy as it was in Thailand to be living the dream. And
when you say it's not as easy, like as in like just like financially, or just because you're like living there, doing what you loved, didn't have to work or anything like that?
Yeah, I didn't have to do it. I was just doing completely fighting, living on fight money. My parents were helping me out with money too when I was living in Thailand. So here I'm just like, I need to sort of be making money. So I was struggling, and then I got the call that he'd passed away, and I just didn't believe it. I was just like, nah, there's no way. They're like, he died cutting away for a fight. He passed out. He had heat stroke. No one found him for a day. And I was torn. Like I went straight to the boys' house, actually, just like back to the action. They were smoking cones and stuff. I'm just sitting there, just couldn't speak. I was just sitting there, and I was in my head, I was just like, he wouldn't want us to do. He wanted me to follow on the dream. Like we'd just been living and training and fighting full time together. So I like dedicated myself back to boxing. I started PTing. I just built my PTs up, and now I've been fighting and training full time for like 8 years and PTing to make my coin, which is just like the easiest way to make the money from it.
So you're living the dream still.
Yeah, they're living the dream still, which is awesome.
I love that, man. So how many professional fights have you had now?
I had 9 professional Muay Thai fights when I was living in Thailand. I had 8 wins, all by knockout, and I had 1 draw. It was on Max Muay Thai. It was my 4th fight. And they put me in against this crafty Thai, and he just schooled me. Like if it was like an actual Max Muay Thai is only 3 rounds, so it's high work rate. You just got to push the fights. It's fast paced. 5 threes for the normal, but the Max Muay Thai is a TV show, so it's 3 threes. So I've come out banging, and he just like tie up, flip, push kick, flip, just schooling me. But
points on points.
Points on points. But I was pushing the pace, because he was really unfit. He was just moving away, but he was so skilled. So they gave that fight a draw, which I'm like sort of happy about. But I was like, I got dominated that fight because he was just another class. He had 40 or 50 fights. I had 4. Yeah. So it was just like, he schooled me there. Pro boxing, I've had 16 pro boxing fights. I've had 15 wins, 11 knockouts, and 1 loss.
seen some of your knockouts too. You like to put on a bit of a show with that too, don't you?
Yeah, sure. I dance
Bit
out.
of a shimmy, a bit of a dance.
Yeah, after I knock them out, or like even after I win, I always like. Yeah, I'm just like, it's my favorite place in the world. I like to enjoy it. I like to put on a show for the people paying their hard-earned money to come watch me as well.
And also enjoy yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly right. It helps like stress the nerves. Like everyone like comes out all staunch, but like you get in your own head. Then it's like if you just loose, let yourself dance out. It makes it a bit easier, a bit more fun.
I think I remember reading the caption on one of your posts, and it's like, "There's no better feeling in the world than knocking one of your opponents out."
Yeah, no, that is true. After all the I think it's just after all the hard work, because that's it. Training's the hard part. Not eating good, yummy food. Not seeing your friends, not enjoying some of the finer like quality things in life. That's what's hard about boxing. The fighting's the fun part. Yeah. My dad always says that. It's like it's true. The fighting is a fun part. You got to enjoy it when you're out there. So go out and have a good time.
100%, bro. I definitely know what you're talking about there. Like, you do the fight camp and you're doing the weight cut, and that's the hard work. You're doing all the work there, and you go out and have some fun.
Yep.
And I think that's something you can also apply to life as well. So since boxing, I guess, has been such a big part of your life, what have you noticed, I guess, has also changed in your personal life?
I guess now I'm just trying to build the habits of just living a healthier lifestyle and not fall back into who I was as a young kid, going out and partying, because it's like, even like I know people that they work for like 9 to 5 jobs or 6 to 2 if they're like tradies and stuff. They work this job, and then in the afternoon, they crack a cold one every day. Yeah, and yeah, that's it. They're straight into it. I'm just like, man, like I could see how easily it would be to fall into that, but it's just like, there's more to life than just cracking a cold one all the time.
The edge off, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's making them feel less bad or more good.
Yeah.
Because there's something in their life they're probably not happy with, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it be like the hard work or, you know, the job they're in, they need something to sort of take the edge off. And I think that's something that I used to do as well, is like come to the weekend, it's like, oh, I'm going to rip in, I feel, you know, then you feel like shit for 4 days.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, just trying to build those habits away from doing that. Everyone falls out of pattern every now and then, and I'm the exact same. Like after fights, it's a slippery slope. Like you fight, you're training so clean, you're like, yes, now I get to enjoy life. And you blow out, you're eating way too much food, you're drinking, you're partying. Because you're like, I've missed out on all these events. It's like, I want to catch up on everything. It looks like FOMO. I've missed out. I want to catch back up. It's like, nah, you can do other. I've been hiking now heaps. Like I hike. Yeah, I'm doing other things to try and, which is just way better, being out in nature, doing things like with a good crew of people. Yeah, you got to try and mix it up.
I think that's a big part of it, right? Is the people you surround yourself with. And like, when you surround yourself with people just party all the time, you just kind of think that's the normal thing to do. It's like, okay, I've worked really hard, I'm going to go have a drink, or I'm going to take some drugs.
Yep.
But when you start to find a different crew of people, like you said, so especially I think for you, living in a boxing gym, you'd have a lot of positive influences in there, and also be a positive influence yourself. You can find so many other things to do without drinking, right?
Yeah.
And find the thrill. So hiking is one of the things. What else do you do outside of boxing, man?
I'm a bit of an anime nerd. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I watch a whole lot of anime.
Yeah.
I play a bit of music. I grew up in school. Actually, I was a musician, so I was in the music excellence program. Played a bunch of instruments, so I still play a few instruments to spend my time just like doing that.
Yeah, what instruments do you play?
I play like most brass instruments with a mouthpiece, so like trombone, trumpet, euphonium, and that. But I don't play them too much anymore. I stick to like guitar and keyboard now, like piano.
Yeah.
But yeah, jack of all trade, master of none, as they say, you know.
Trying to master boxing, but right.
Actually, that's probably what I'm like half mastered. I could say I'm like half mastered
right
that. I'm doing
there.
okay there.
Yeah.
But yeah. There are a couple of the other things I like to do all my time.
Yeah, sick, dude. So any big hikes you got planned or anything, like, I guess, on the event calendar for you? Because now that you're not drinking, you're doing 75 hard.
Yep.
You've got to be doing these two workouts. Like, have you got any special events coming up or anything like that?
Yeah, I've just booked in. It'll be on my last day, actually. November 18 is my last day of 75 hard. And there's the Rabina Triathlon.
Yeah, okay,
so my barber, Todd Page, he owns 7-1 Studio. Shout out Todd. He told me he's going to do it, and so I said, I'm going to come do it and try and beat ya.
That's a competition, isn't it?
Another competition, yeah. But he's a real good dude. He's been sober for quite a while too, and I get a haircut from him most weeks. It's just good to chat and be around him.
He does a good job, brother.
Yeah, thank you. I had a fresh cut yesterday. But he invited me to a park run actually the other day. And
is this one we're talking about off
yeah,
air?
it's the one we're talking about off air. So yeah, he invited to me the 5K park run, and we've had a couple 30K race. We did 30K runs that I've beat him a couple times. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna beat him again. And I think he even told people I was gonna beat him as well. Anyway, we get there. He's like, he was with his mate who's a run. He's like, we're gonna do a run warm up. I was like, sweet. The run warm up was 3 bloody K, and I was like, my legs are shot. My man, that's more than half the run. I was like, feeling pretty shot. I hadn't been running heaps. Take off, I'm running pretty good, like 330s, 340s, and I thought I'm ahead of Todd. Then all of a sudden I see Todd run past me, like he's done the U and he's come back. I'm like, oh, he's flying. I got to about 2.5 Ks and I was cooked. So I did 19 minutes 14 was my fave car time. It was still a good time, but he did 17:53. So I said, I'm going to beat you next time. So this triathlon will be our next race together. Yeah, I got a lot of work to do. And he's a weapon on a push bike. So I got him on the swim, but he's got me on the bike and we're pretty similar on the run. So it'll be down to the wire on the race.
Have you always had that competitive side to you? Because I feel like when I used to drink, it was, I'm going to take the most drugs. I'm going to drink the most piss. I'm going to be the most fucked up.
Yep.
And then I sort of started to try and apply that into other areas of my life, like with my fitness, with my business, with all that sort of stuff. Have you noticed the same for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. My dad's definitely raised me like that. He's everything I've had to work for to win. Like as a kid playing cards, like any game we played, it's like he'd
never
me.
give it to you.
Yeah, he'd never give it to me. He'd beat me in everything. So like I had to work hard to win. I grew up playing rugby league, just playing through school, and like you always want to like go good. Primary school, I was second every year in cross country. I was just one kid. He was just too much of a weapon. He was like, man, yeah, he just like smoked me every time, eh? But yeah, I've always been pretty competitive, and it carries on even in the partying thing. It's like I just keep drinking. I think even I was actually thinking about it the other day. It's like, why do I get so loose, and why do I get to like a blackout stage and party? And it's like, because you get to let loose. It's like through fighting, you're so strict and you're so conditioned all the time. And then you get this release where you don't have to really worry about it. You're just having a good time and you just let loose too much. But it's not a healthy thing to do at all. To lose control of yourself physically and mentally, it's a detriment to yourself as a person.
Man, but I feel like in Australian culture, that's like a big part of it, right? It's like who's going to get the most fucked up. And that's like a thing we sort of play for.
Yeah, no, exactly right.
I think that's so dangerous because exactly like you said, man, like, I don't know about you, man, but for me, when I'm drinking, it's when I would drink, I'd drink until I feel drunk. And generally by that stage, it's a couple of shots deep and I've had a couple of cruises or whatever it might be. And by that stage, all the rest of the alcohol's kicking in. Then I'm fucked.
Yeah.
You know, and that was literally like a standard night drinking. I don't feel like I had that off switch.
Yep.
You know, it was either all or nothing. And that's the same with everything else that I do in life. It's like if I'm going hard on business, I'm going hard on business. If I'm going hard in the gym, I'm fucking going hard in the gym. If I'm going to box, I'm going to fucking give it a red hot crack.
Yep.
You know, it's no such thing as half measures. And that's been detrimental to me. Did you find the same for you when you were younger? Like with partying and that sort of stuff? Like did you find yourself in like blackout positions and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, all the time. It's go hard or go home and all the things you do. Even someone's laughing, they're like, you're doing this, because I might have thinking about having a cutback fight, like getting back into it. My body's pretty rooted from all the years of training, and I've done like a lot of different arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai and that. But
you're saying you're just coming off a shoulder injury just recently, right?
Yeah, I had a shoulder op 2 years ago now too, so I'm just trying to build back up. I have a couple of like niggling injuries and stuff, trying to work through. But I'm heaps overweight compared to what I should fight at and be walking around at. So I'm like, 75 hard, I've been wanting to do it for ages, and it will help me lose the weight that I've been holding. And someone's like, you don't have to do this big crazy challenge to lose the weight. You just have to watch your food. Like, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's just how we are. Like, all or nothing. Yeah, if you're going to do it, do something hectic.
You got to set a goal, right?
Exactly.
But I think that for a lot of people, they don't really know how to do that. Or they don't understand how to do that. Like, because the thing is, if you set the goal, it's like, I'm going to stick to that because I'm a man of my word. That's what I'm striving towards. And I'm sure it's the same for you. That's probably why you're doing 75 hard again.
Yep.
Because it gives you that focal point.
Yeah.
And like when you don't have a challenge or you don't have something you're working towards, you don't have a goal or a fight or something like that, it's like you feel lost. It's like you got no purpose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, you are right. And just staying truthful to yourself. So we have another bet in my gym, my dad and I did. And it was, if we play the pokies, you have to do a burpee mile.
So you were bad on the pokies as well, eh?
So yeah, like when it goes hand in hand. Like it's like when you go out and have a drink, you start drinking too much with the crew, you're like, Yeah, let's get
Have
it
a
back.
slap.
Let's have a
Yeah.
slap. Let's go on the party drugs. Let's have a slap. Let's do it all. And they all just went hand to hand. And you go and you'd win some big ones like a lot of times, but you
That's what reels you
lose.
back in, right?
Yeah, that's it. You lose bunch to them. My dad and I were like, we're pretty bad for it. Must be the Asian in us, the Asian gene coming out, the gambling gene. But he was like, man, if we play the pokies, we got to do a burpee mile. And I'm like, he's like, you keen to jump on this with me? And I'm like, yeah, keen. I've played the pokies 6 times, and I've told him every time. So I'm 6 miles of burpees. So I'm doing
6 miles of burpees.
burpees. So you got to do a burpee instead of jumping up in the air. You got to jump forward. You do another burpee jump forward. You got to do that for a mile. Yeah. So I'm 6 miles. I'm doing it in 1 mile increments, and I've been ticked up for a while now. So I need to try and get it done.
You gotta pay that bill, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna try and get that done by the end of the year. So I'm just trying to build the body up so I can get to it. But it is like, I didn't have to tell him that I've played the pokies,
No,
but
but
like in myself, I know it's just that like I've done the wrong thing. I made a bet with someone else and with myself, and I've lied about it, and now I've got to pay and suffer the consequences for my actions.
So when you work in the gym with people, you probably try and teach them a lot of accountability and stuff like that because you keep yourself accountable. That's probably something that was, I guess, bred into you.
Yep.
So for someone that's like, I guess, coming to the gym and you're trying to teach them about accountability and being true to their word, what would be, I guess, the advice you give them, or what would be like a stern talking to you'd be giving them if they fucked up?
Oh, it's hard. You can't be too down. A lot of people do it for a lot of different reasons. It depends who they are. Like, I actually have a guy who's training up for a fight, and I seen him out drinking on the weekend. He had a couple of drinks. He's fighting like 2 or 3 weeks. It's not long till he fights, and he was out drinking. He had a couple of drinks. I don't think he's not the kind of guy to go out and get slosh, but he's like been so strict, doing everything really good. And then he's gone out and had a drink, and I didn't say anything to him because he is so close to the fight. Like, I don't want to mess with his head. But like after the fight, I'm gonna be like, man, like, what were you doing? Like, and even if he does win, I'm like, man, if you had a harder fight and you got beat, you're giving yourself an excuse. You're giving yourself a reason, like, oh, I just lost. I shouldn't have had that drink. And it's like,
right, he's giving himself an excuse, right?
Yeah, that might be the reason why he did it. But it's just like, yeah, you don't want to. Especially in fighting, it's like, it's life or death out there. And it's like, my boy Jordan passed away. Another one of my friends, his dad passed away in the boxing ring. He got hit. He fell down and cracked his head on the ground, put into a coma and never woke up. And that is the game. It's life or death. Like, these are 2 people close to me that I know who have died in the fight game. So it's like, I try and tell this to people. It's just like, if you're not being true to yourself, it's like there's serious consequences for not being true and keeping honest to what you're trying to do.
That's a great metaphor for life, really, isn't it? Because it's literally life or death out there. And it's the same with the things that you're doing. You're either going to be moving 1 step closer to death or 1 step closer to growing to have the life that you want to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you are right.
So back to when you were partying back in the day, what was probably the biggest lesson that you took from that stage in your life?
I don't know. It gave me probably a bit of common sense and like street knowledge, but common sense. Just like,
sense, right?
if you do, what happens if you keep doing the wrong things, what happens? I've seen how bad shit got.
Yeah.
Like, I had nothing. I remember like just having no money, spending all my money on weed. It was like all my paycheck pretty much went to weed, and I'd be eating like 2-minute noodles like once a day. Because I'm like, otherwise I wouldn't have had enough money to smoke weed every day. It was just like having to go. My missus at the time, she lived in Brisbane. I lived on the Goldie. I didn't have a car. I would just smoke weed and rode my bike around everywhere. So you just have to like catch a train every day with no money. So I'll just like catch out like illegally. I just jump the train, get up there, ride to hers. And it was just like.
What station were you jumping off at?
Well.
Did you have to go through Queen Street?
I don't know when Brisbane where I was jumping off. I can't remember. She lived in Belinga, so nice.
Been, like, close to the city.
Yeah, close to the city. So I'd have to get off and like ride quite a bit to get to her.
Belinga.
Yeah, sorry, Belinga. Because Belinga's real nice, right?
Yeah, man,
real nice. She lived like
farm, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so I was like staying there, but it was just it's a terrible time.
But this is the thing, bro. Like, I feel like because we went through that sort of stuff, it's really taught us a lot about our life and I guess what's important to us now.
Yeah.
So if you, I guess, had someone that came into the boxing gym that was struggling with similar things to what we've been through, what would be the advice that you give them, and what would be, I guess, something that you would like to show them as a lesson that you've learned?
Yeah, probably touching on what you said. You just got to surround yourself with good quality people in your life. If you're hanging around the people who are doing it all the time, that's what you're going to do for sure. get out in the sunshine as well. That'd be another big one for me. I
It's
think.
something so simple, right?
Yeah, so simple, so easy. If you just get out and do that, it just picks everything else up. But yeah, it'd probably just surround yourself, as you said. Yeah, surround yourself with good quality people and good quality things come.
Yeah.
Big believer in karma. Do good, be good. Good things happen.
Yeah.
Do bad things happen. Like,
very simple, right?
Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the environment side of things, there probably would have been a point in your life where you struggled, I guess, to find the right sort of people. So as you started to, I guess, grow and, I guess, work on yourself to be the man you are today, did you notice that, you started to lose friends? And was that like a lonely time for you?
Yeah. Yeah, my boys I used to hang out with back in the day, I hang out with like 2 of them. They used to party with and that. The rest of them I actually don't even know what they're doing anymore. Because we're living in a trap house together. A lot of them like I don't have much contact with. I got 2 of them. They changed their lives around too. One joined the Navy. My boy Ryan, he joined the Navy. Sick. And he's down there killing it. He's like making good money. He's like saving up. He'll have his own joint soon. He's doing real good. I went down and seen him. But yeah, sorry, I forgot where we were going with that one.
Yeah, so like, I guess, was it a lonely time in your life when you had to walk away from everybody?
Yeah,
and how did you find yourself being able to connect with people that weren't in the same area or same game?
Yeah, no, I was pretty lucky because I grew up in the fight game, so I grew up training that. So I was in the gym straight when I moved back from Thailand, and even though I lost a lot of my friends from before they used to party with, I still had all the support from the gym people that I had there. I still had people I could do things with. Yeah, it was good.
Man, that's actually something that I do love about fighting is like the boxing gym, the culture, the environment, the community. And I'm sure it'd be the same at Matrix, but where I fight out of it, Wicked Pods there, and when I train, like everyone just looks after each other. You know, there's always that support there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it'd be great for anyone that is out there without support to maybe even join a boxing gym or something like that. And for me, that was a big thing. It was like having that second family.
Yep.
And I mean, for you, it actually is your family, right?
Yeah.
Like the boxing gym is where your family is.
Yeah, no, the boxing gym is my family. Everyone there is like all the boys in the comp team with me are family. But even people in the other classes, like, well, great. I chat with them every day. It's like because I'm there, actually living in my gym at the moment. So full time, living and breathing it.
Yeah, literally. Bro.
But it is, yeah. It's like anyone that is struggling, they don't have people around them. Yeah, join a gym. Doesn't have to be a boxing gym. Could be jiu-jitsu. Could be any sports. Could just be a fitness health gym. Like just doing weights, doing fitness. Join a running club. Like one of my boys, he's in part of a running club, and like they're always doing things together. Going for runs. Just good, healthy people.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. It's about getting that environment. If you're trying to make a change, or like environments where it's at. If you hang around 6 fuckwits, you'll be the 6th, you'll be the 7th, right?
Yeah.
If you hang around 6 successful people, you're going to be the 7th person.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, what's on the cards for the future for the Flamingo? You got more fights in the works? You said you were thinking about maybe getting back into it?
Yeah, no, I definitely am thinking about how I'm trying to get fit. I'm boxing every day. I'm doing all the other extra cardio stuff to get the fitness back to level. I was sparred. It's 5-round sparring, 5-3 sparring last time with my boy. 5-3s with my boy Lockie O'Shea. So we are definitely looking. No plans just yet. Maybe the comeback might be next year. Looking to maybe go to Mexico, go to a camp over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been talks about that, but I'm in no rush. I've been fighting professionally since I was 21. I'm 29 this end of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm in no rush, and my body is pretty beat up, as most fighters do as they go through. I didn't look after recovery as much as I should have. But that's the price we pay. You learn from your mistakes, so I focus on it a lot now. But yeah, time will tell what sees if I have another fight or not.
So why Mexico? I've actually had a few mates that are looking at going over. I've got one mate over there at the moment, Josh Fredo.
Yeah.
And he's looking at getting a fight over in Mexico as well. Is it easier to get fights there, or is it just better for exposure, or?
Nah, so the greatest compliment I've ever got fighting was a guy from Mark Bam Bam Flanagan. He's an Aussie boxer.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, you fight like a Mexican." And pretty much, well, most people that don't follow boxing, Mexicans are like hard, tough guys that walk through it and they throw punches and they back down, they get hit, they get back up, they keep fighting.
Yeah, that's where the hard fights are at.
Yeah, the hard fights, like you have hard, and that's just like a lot of my favorite fighters are from over there.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just like they have their own sort of style. Like you're a Mexican style fighter, you're like you give none, you walk forward, you don't back away. Some packs of boxers and movies are like very technical too, but they're just tough, hardy fighters. So
similar to like your style, right?
Yeah, similar to my style. So I'm like, I should go train where I got my biggest compliment ever. Like I've always just sort of wanted to do it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Is that like bucket list for you to get over there and actually just get amongst it in Mexico?
Yeah, well, I did it in Thailand, and I was very lucky and fortunate to do that. But here, it could be my own choice to go over there and go train and maybe even get a fight while I'm there.
Yep.
So yeah, time will tell.
What about after boxing, bro? What's the goals for you? Do you have like, I guess, big aspirations, big dreams? Do you want to continue being part of the boxing gym? Because obviously that's who you are and who you've been for such a long time.
Yeah, I think the gym will always be part of my life. If I start my own, even if I go overseas, there was opportunities to go over to Japan and go like teach at a boxing gym over there. My friend was sending me, he's like, man, you should apply for this. I reckon you could get it.
Yeah.
But at the time, it just didn't suit for what I was doing. I love the Gold Coast. Gold Coast will always be home. We got like
so good, eh?
So good. We got
So
the beaches. We got mountains. We got nightlife. We got the theme parks. We got everything. Anything you need, we got it here.
Literally within like 20 minutes of like each other, right?
Yeah, and everyone's moving here. Everyone loves the Gold Coast. Everyone's moving here. People try and say it's a shit place, but you're hanging around with the wrong people if you think it's a shit place.
Man. Look where your focus is, right?
Yeah.
If you're focusing on shit things, you're going to see shit things.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
So, yeah, after fighting, man, I'll definitely still be in the gym, I believe. But who knows? I've been hiking a lot. I've been trying to film as much as I can. Maybe I get something to do with that.
Like content-wise?
Yeah, content-wise.
Okay.
See how we go there. I was saying if I'm doing any hikes, I'm actually doing one called the Stinson Plane Wreck hike. So
You're telling me about this is like Tambo, right? Up Tambourine?
It's O'Reilly's. Up in O'Reilly's.
Yeah.
So back in the day, a plane went down. No one could find. People thought it was down near Sydney, but this guy John O'Reilly, who owns an area, he was like, "Nah, I know where they are." So he travelled out by himself and he found them. And so one person died on impact, but I think there was another 2 or 3 that survived, but they were critically injured.
Yeah.
So he sort of gave him basic first aid, helped him out, gave him some provisions, walked back, got help, and they crawled through and pulled them out. So he's saved like 2 or 3 people's lives from doing it. So there's still parts of the plane still there, but apparently it's nearly all gone. There's only like little bits of the plane left.
Yeah, you can get there before it's all gone.
Before it's all gone, 100%. Because nature takes over everything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
powerful force, man.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna try and go out there and do that. That'll be a day and a half hike. So we'll go there, we'll camp the night, then we'll hike back the next day. It's a pretty long one. Apparently it's a brutal hike too. Very overgrown.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm keen to do that one very soon.
Sick, bro. And apart from that, you're in a relationship now as well. So how do you manage to, I guess, fit the boxing side of things and the relationship and the 75 hard and the training and everything? And how do you find balance in your life, bro?
Yeah, it is hard. I got a real good chick. Kia, you're a mad girl. Lot of love for ya. She definitely helps me out. She's gone through her stuff as well at the moment. Which I won't delve into, it's she supports me a lot in all things I do. She sees the person I'm trying to be and the person I am being, I guess. So she supports me in the adventures I try and take in my life, which is real good. Yeah, it is hard though, and I think it would be definitely hard for her because it's like I'm there in the gym early mornings, late at night. We don't get to see each other as much as she'd like to. But eventually that'll change, and you just got to take it as it comes.
100%, bro. 100%, man. Sounds like a solid chick you got there.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, she's a great girl.
Easy, bro. Well, man, thanks very much for coming out. Before we finish up, bro, if there was someone out there that was struggling with the party life like we were, what would be the first thing you'd tell them to do if they wanted to get out of it?
Yeah, surround yourself with the right people. Find a community. Yeah, find a community.
That's a big one, right?
Yeah, find a good community. Matrix Boxing, we have great Wicked Bods. I know the boys at Wicked Bods, James and Mark, legends. Go there, come here, find a running club. Just go to a normal fitness gym. Go to EMF, go to World Gym. I don't know. Find somewhere with a bit of a community. Don't have to keep living that lifestyle, and try the 75 hard. Try the 75 hard. That will definitely crack you out of it. It will be hard, one of the hardest things you ever do, but it'll be worth every moment.
Bro, I think I was actually telling you about that. A friend of mine, his mum was actually listening to the podcast, and she started 75 hard a couple of days later. She just finished it not long ago, man. It's completely changed her life.
Yep.
So I second that. 75 hard, even though it's a hard thing to do, it's probably the best thing I ever did.
Yep.
And I couldn't recommend that any more highly.
Yeah, no, I agree.
My man, cheers for coming out, brother.
Thanks for having me, man.
My man.